Well, King, pull a chair. Let me sit down and reason.
So, I see you asking about the olive plant.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you have a spiritual space as well.
Yes, I do.
Because he was mentioning to me, the plants don't only have medicinal aspect, also have spiritual aspect. So what is the spiritual aspect to these plants, or who?
Alright, let me see how simple I can break it down for you, right? There's an Orisha deity who we call Osain, or a Yoruba deity, if you want to put it that way, who we call the owner of herbs, or the master of herbs and spiritual medicine. So it is believed by Orisha people that every herb has an ashi, and Osain is the Orisha who enables us to manipulate that ashi to do spiritual things.
Right.
For example, it has certain bush you will use to cut blight. It has certain bush you will use for luck. It has certain bush you will use to clean a house.
Right.
It has certain bush you will use to clean a yard, a spiritual yard, because spiritual yard will be different to a house.
A house, right?
Yeah, you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
And so it comes down to the ritual that you're going to do
And the purpose.
and the purpose of the ritual. So this is where the experience and the knowledge of your elders come in. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
So to put it simple, like let me see, have the bong bush here. You know, in a spiritual space, most times you will see a bong bush by a churchyard, or you will see it by an open stool, right? Because it's believed that it's a plant to protect you. It have a protective energy.
Right.
So somebody might be going through something, and they feel that they need protection from an evil, from an enemy or something like that, and an elder may use the bong bush with other herbs to give them a bath to change around that vibration from them. So you will hear somebody say they're going for a bath, you know. But I like to break it down to like this. When you get up in the morning, you just go and clean yourself. You go to the bathroom, you brush your teeth, you know. So you have to take time to clean yourself spiritually, because as we journey through life, we pick up all different kind of vibrations. In the colloquial sense, they let us know you're going for obia. But when you understand spiritual things, there are times that you have to dismiss certain energies from around you, because these energies sometimes hinder you from progressing as you're supposed to progress. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
So if you're talking about olive bush is a relatively cool plant, meaning that you will find an olive bush on the altar. You will find olive bush by placing it with a spray to bless and these kind of stories. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So olive bush is also a plant that is do a lot of healing. A plant you will find plenty in a Mona room too. You understand what I'm saying? So when we speaking of herb, Osain is that Orisha that allows us to manipulate that ashi to make the herb effective for what we wanted to make it for. So then there is medicinal purposes. So for example, you will take seed under leaf for diabetes, but you could use the same seed under leaf to do washing somebody's head according to which Orisha. You could use the same seed under leaf to do certain things with Ifa. You could use the same seed under leaf to make certain medicine spiritually as well. So it all depends. It comes down to what you're using it for, and that's where Osain comes in. So I often tell people, because I learned from my elders, that Osain is the bridge between you and any other Orisha, because there is nothing spiritual you could do without Osain. There is nothing spiritual you could do without understanding the power of herbs, the forces. Because what is Orisha? Orisha is the forces and nature and the power that they carry. Orisha Osain allows us to manipulate nature, cause and effect then.
Within the herbs.
Within the herbal space,
Right.
or the herbal things. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, follow.
So it's like herbs you could use if a woman can make children. One, so like when we talking about Veven, we could use Veven in the medicinal part of it. Like when a woman now make baby, and they say she's not lactating, she's not producing enough milk to feed the baby,
Right.
we will give her Veven. But on a spiritual aspect, Veven is a herb you could also use to bathe a female if it's believed that she's infertile,
Right.
to attract that energy around her to make a baby. You follow what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
So every herb have different powers, if you want to put it that way, or different ashi. So it have sweet herbs or cool herbs, and it have hot herbs. It has certain herbs you could use to enforce a charm, if you want to call it that. You see, knowledge is power. And we are led to believe that when our elders did these things, they was working obia. And it's not really, obia is a strong word, obia is a miscommunication. They understood how to manipulate the energy of the herb to get what they wanted to happen.
Right.
And that's where Osain comes in.
So this Yoruba divinity that you mentioned, Osain, what else can you say about it?
Well, Osain, now everybody that know me, I just said even my blood yellow. Because that's the Orisha.
Why is that?
Because that's the Orisha I love the most.
Okay.
Osain is the Orisha, as I said, the master the herbs. Osain does change the ashes from herbs into magic. That is Osain portfolio.
So how does he function within the spiritual space then?
Alright. Osain is the doctor of the church. Osain is the healer. When a manifestation of Osain usually comes to heal, to give us messages as to what to use, to drink, to deal with whatever sickness that might be in the atmosphere. For example, just recently we was going through the COVID period.
Right.
Osain has manifested over and over in my pale and different spiritual spaces and left instructions as to what to use for us to be able to survive, if you want to put it that way, during that crucial time. You understand? Osain color is, one of Osain colors is yellow and brown. Osain is really a forested Orisha, or Orisha we say that lives in the forest. Osain likes zuti, we call it a handkerchief. Osain like pekabush to dance with. Osain like anything that could use to make medicine to heal is our offering to Osain. Good. Osain number is 5. You know, there are many aspects of Osain. It depends on which elder you go to. Some elder will tell you there are 7 brothers, like in Trinidad we call them brothers, you know, but it's really aspects they're trying to tell you. You know, some will tell you there's 9. So it depends on which elder you go to and their connection with Osain. So Osain does protect us a lot too. To me, he's one of the most loving Orishas and he's one of the most strict Orishas. Because he's a Orisha you cannot laugh and skin with. Osain is a Orisha that is punished for not doing what you're supposed to do properly. He likes order. You know? So he's a Orisha that you must take seriously. Because without Osain, we can't do nothing. If you're doing an initiation, you're going for a spiritual bath, even if you're going by a spiritual sort of buy oils, in order to make the oil, there's a herb that they have to use. Good. And for example, he like briar, he like the handkerchief, the zuti. All these is herbs too.
Right.
So when you see, and if you realize when, I don't know if you've ever seen a manifestation or a sign, you will see most of the time they call him the 1-foot hopper. Because usually a tree have one root, one main root, then if you want to put it that way. So Osain is a very, very serious and important deity in the Orisha tradition. And from my experience and understanding, I think that he's one we must pay more respect to really get the fullness of the tradition that we're in. You know, so it have things that we could use. It have things we could use. I'm not saying not to go to the doctor, but what I'm saying is that it have herbs that could help with your ailment, and it have herbs that could change around your vibrations spiritually. So you realize, to put in layman terms, you realize you're going through a sourness. It has certain herbs like sweet lani you could use to bathe with. You realize that you're getting sick. Some herbs you have to drink it and you have to bathe with it. So it's internal and external.
Right.
Some herbs you have to boil it before you use it. Some herbs you have to draw it before you use it. So this is where I always advise people, when it comes to the herbal aspect of spirituality, make sure that you get your training from a reputable elder who has an understanding of how to use the herb. Because you wouldn't want to use something and then it's damaging to your system because you're not knowing how to use it correctly. Or you use too much then, and then you end up in a problem. Or you use the wrong herb for the wrong thing. You follow where I'm coming from? So, this Orisha, he's take a lot of different offerings. One of them he just take the Morocco, he just take Dominican fowl, the kind of the one with the yellow spot on it.
Right.
He like the clean neck fowl. He like the frizzle fowl as well. In some cases he might take a go-to, but it all depends on your connection with the said Orisha. So you might go by somebody and they might see them or find a goat. That is what he asks of them. But in most spiritual spaces, Osain just take the Morocco, the land Morocco.
Alright, so you mentioned the bong plants. So what plants are there around these shrine or stool spaces?
Alright, most places that you go to, if you go to Ogun, you will realize that you have a bong plant or bong bush around Ogun stool. You will realize it will have like physic nut, the large physic nut. Some stools might have the red, some stools might have the white according to what instruction they get by shop panel. You'll realize that some stools may have like the white exoras or the red exoras. Some may have like sweet broom, like the olive bush, Genda flowers too. Now Genda flowers is a plant that has opened a pineal gland. You understand what I'm saying? But most of the times you also use it by Osain because Osain color yellow and it's a yellow flowers. But it's a yellow medicinal flowers. So you will realize by most places by Osain you will see the Genda flowers too. You know, it have cotton. In some shrines you will see cotton around Shango stool or around the chapel. Well, when I say around the chapel, because the chapel is in cold place, but outside in the yard you will also see a cotton bush plant. You know, you will see aloes. Most spiritual spaces you will see aloes, you will see saffron, because these are things that we use to heal people.
Right.
When people come with whatever ailment, whether spiritually or physically, in a spiritual space, usually once they have available space, they will have a lot of plants that they have easy access to aid that when somebody come, they could use.
Right.
Because, like I like to tell people, you never know when trouble will come. So the sickness doesn't say. Nobody just go to Hilo and buy a pound of sickness. So nobody doesn't know when they will get sick. But it is believed that certain herbs could heal certain ailments, whether spiritually or physically. So these are the things you will meet around the stools, as we call it in Trinidad, the stools, or in spiritual spaces. Outside of the plants that just be around the stools or the flags, we also use plants that to make the implements or the tools that Orisha does use. So for example, the rings around the drums, the drumsticks, there's a vine where we just call the Pesi. We really just use a stick where he just dance with, where we just call it roseau, black roseau. You know, the lily for sharp and a fork stick, is all these are streets too. You know, the simple Santa Maria, I saw you were showing you that, you know, the Santa Maria is a herb that Oshun does use to make medicine for people too.
Right.
You know, so besides the drum, it's certain trees that is used that will carve out. Because like I said earlier, Orisha is the forces of nature. So Orisha like things from nature. You know, so it comes back right there. So no matter our ancestors understood, in order to worship God, we have to see God in everything that He has created. You know, and they just tell us that we are worshiping the created and not the creator, and that is not true. Because our elders understood that everything Olodomari created has his ashi. You understand what I'm saying? So Orisha people, Orisha devotees, tried as much as possible to use things of nature in their way of worship. So as you now start to learn about herbs, it has plenty of things that we can really capture in a discussion like this.
Right.
So one of the best things I'll advise you to do is visit certain spiritual spaces that you could get a deeper idea as to what they just use certain things for. Because we still have the calabash tree, we still have the silk cotton tree. For example, we just use the coconut branch to make the sheshire broom. We Osain just use, we shock panna just use to clean and to jarry people, as we just say. To remove negative energy, we just use black sage, especially to clean church and thing, to run bad spirit and zombie. We just use black sage to smoke out, and all these different things. So it's a lot of process. It's a lot of process, but I believe that you're on the right track because you're seeking information, you know. And my elders teach me that when the student is ready, the teachers disappear.
Well, as you mentioned smoke, what about the herbs you used to smoke?
The smoke like smoke?
Yes.
Like marijuana and tobacco and them kind of,
yes.
Alright. Our ancestors had a very deep connection with tobacco. And that's why you will realize that there's a lot of spiritual people who just smoke cigarettes. Well, most cases is Broadway. You know? Like me, I just smoke Broadway too. You know? And then where marijuana is concerned, there's a lot of medicinal use of marijuana. Where the problem does arise is that the abuse of.
Right.
The abuse of. So marijuana is not a bad thing because all them things is herbs. Tobacco doesn't only, you don't only use tobacco for smoking. You could soak tobacco in alcohol to rub for pain, to rub your joints. You know, you could use tobacco to make a particular perfume, as the people say, to dismiss certain energies too. So plenty of our elders understood that. The problem is the abuse of. So nothing is wrong if you have to use your marijuana or your tobacco. But me personally think there's a time and a space for that.
Right.
You know, so I'm not against anybody who smoking the thing, because at the end of the day, all of that is herbs.
Herbs, yes.
And every herb that God, what the Bible tells us, the herbs is the healing of the nation. But we limit the herb to weed, but the marijuana is not only marijuana could use for healing. Because if you do your research, people who have cancer just use marijuana for pain. People who sick with different sicknesses, especially diseases that mash up your bones and stuff like that, just use marijuana too. Cannabis oil, there's clear glaucoma and these kind of things. So at the end of the day, once you get a proper understanding of what you're using it for, I think you should never issue.
Well, that goes back to the saying, too much of anything is
good for nothing.
Good, yes.
Too much of anything is good for nothing. And as a young spiritual person, it is important that you continue doing things like these to open your knowledge space and to show people that coming behind us that this is the reason why our elders did this, and they will have an understanding now that they could, in other words, they could have a foundation that they could build upon.
Right.
So there's a whole Pandora's box, you know. And I often tell people that spirituality is a liquid thing. No two people will get the same.
Yeah.
So I might get olive bush, for example, to put on my altar, but you might get olive bush to bathe people when they come by you.
Right.
Does that mean it's wrong?
No.
You understand what I'm saying?
You understand?
So we have to be very careful between making wrong judgments and wrong assessments. That's why I maintain the fact that when you want knowledge about herbal things or you're using herbal medicine, you go to reputable elders who have knowledge, who knowledge was passed down to, that they could pass down knowledge to you.
Yes.
Because there are certain herbs, if you drink too much of it, it could put you in the hospital. So, it's as simple as that.
Well, so far, I believe all what you said so far, and based on my experience yesterday with Elder Masika giving me at least 3 herbs, it really worked for me.
That is a blessing. And as you say that, these are the secrets of our elders. And plenty of these secrets we lose. Plenty of these secrets we lose because plenty of them didn't really teach us, you know. And in all fairness, most of us didn't really want to learn. Because the first thing we're saying is, like bush, I go by the doctor. And the doctor medicine killing me faster than the bush. Look it like this. In our grandmother time, I never see them go by the doctor unless it was something really, really serious. And they used to live till 80 something, 100 and something.
Right.
You say I have a headache, she will say go in the cupboard and get this. Go in the yard and pick this. Now you're struggling to reach 50. So they must knew something. They must knew something. So I think it's wise to be around these people like Elder Masika.
Yes.
To be around people like them and taking the information. Because my elders teach me when an elder die, a library burns to the ground.
Yes.
And even what he teaching you might be just the tip of the iceberg to what he knows.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So before the library burns to the ground, you make sure that you stock up your library. You make sure you stock your library and do it the right way.
Brethren, Elder,
Yes, King.
watch now. This tea is sweet.
Oh, thank you. Thank
What?
you.
What? And she take tuning real good. Youth,
You get
You might just make good drummers.
youth. You see, watch now. I in the back there, and I remember we didn't even talk about jerry tooth. You see this plant? Jerry tooth in Patois, that means cure for all.
So let's cure anything.
That curing for all.
Mm.
Right? That's what the name say.
Cure for all.
Cure for all. Sometimes you just have to go by the names, what they get the plant. Them old people had wisdom, you know. They know what they're doing. And this, moringa. Right? In Trinidad here, we used to call this sanyìn. Because yeah, this came over with the East Indians. Right? All over the African continent have it too, you know.
So where is this a seed?
It have a seed in it, but the leaves they used to use to, well, there is used the leaf as medicine, but the young ones in this, right? They used to cook that and thing. But the seeds medicinal, the leaves medicinal, the root medicinal, all of that. You understand? So
Yeah.
this sanyìn. I have a plant here called sweet leaf. And as I go on in the back there and I pull in that drum, I remember this, you know. This. Now, if you eat a seed in this and you drink cold water, you feel like if you're drinking a sweet drink, you know. One seed in that. You eat a seed and you drink cold water. Or if you drink lime juice without sugar in it, it tastes like if it's sweet. Yeah, you must try that. Right? There's sweet leaf. This tastes like green pigeon peas. This high in potassium, more potassium than a banana. A little bit in this, more potassium than a banana. There is use this like when you're cooking and thing and in sauces and thing, because it stay green. When it cook, it doesn't change color.
Change color.
It stay green. So we call this one sweet leaf. Yes. And this is a plant called chaya.
Hey, I never know that. I had a plant by me.
Eh?
I never knew that was the name.
Wait, but this is not common plant, you know. You sure is this?
Well, I
Watch it,
haven't
watch
think-
it, watch it, watch it good. Watch it. Hold that, check that.
I feel I had this one by me.
Yeah,
And if
we-
I do have this, something very close to this.
Very good. Well, here what they just cook this too, you know. This is make a nice like bhaji
Wow.
and things. They just cook this.
The more you live there?
There's also use it for like diabetes and thing. It's a medicinal plant too. Chaya is an important plant, but it have a way to cook it. You just had to throw hot water on it first and throw out the hot water and then cook it.
Wow, the more you live is the more you learn.
Because you just have a little kind of milk, and sometimes that is like an irritant. You understand? So this is three again in the back there for you. So the sweet leaf, the cherry tooth, right, and the chaya, right.
Nice.
So I had these plants here, and once I have it, all you have access to it. But one thing I will tell you, youth man, I don't like what I teach, meet a dead end, right? If I teach you something, I expect you not to be stingy with it, don't be selfish with it. Because knowledge don't belong to we.
True.
Pass it on.
We need to pass it, right? And when the time is right, the person to pass it will reach. And when the person reach, let them get it. Right?
Yeah.
I had to go.
Alright.
Right? So hold on to these.
Thanks.
Yeah. Remember what I tell you with the same, you eat a seed of this and you drink like lime juice without sugar in it, it tastes
It's like
sweet.
a soft drink.
Right. Cold water tasting real nice.
Well, thanks, eh?
Yeah. Try it.
Yeah, you will.
Easy.
Thanks again, eh?
And enjoy.
I hope I see you night in my shango, you know.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah. Ain't go miss.